you shoot it into the joint and it just welds it for you, even when you've already put it fully done.
Yes. Oh,
I'm not joking. It's perfect for it.
I have at this point 3 separate stages of Tamiya Extra Thin. I have Tamiya Extra Thin, just bought the bottle, like it will dry
Yep.
instantly. Then I've got
Yep.
a 2-year-old bottle that's been used on enough stuff. The inside has gone grey, but because of that, it
Yep.
dries a bit slower. And then
Yep.
I've got Tamiya Extra Thin, Extra Thick, which is Tamiya Extra Thin with a bunch of sprues chopped in,
I've heard of that. Yes.
and it is gloop. It is horrific. But if you want it to hold something, you are not moving it ever. Just
This is permanent. Make sure you think this through.
yeah. I mean, that's what I've got underneath Cromdis, the dragon that I've got on my desk, because the base was ever so slightly warped, and I just thought I can't be doing with this. I'm just going to fill up the space between the dragon and the base with Tamiya Extra Thick, and it'll do. It will hold. Like nothing is moving this ever, and I will not have to care. What I do have to care about is the fact that Games Workshop have made a model that doesn't fit in a 9-litre really useful box, so that's a pain. Like
Okay.
there is no dimension where you can turn it to that it will fit. The
Get your
base,
dragon.
yeah, the base is 160 mil, so you can't lie it down because a 9-litre really useful box tops that at 145. The height is also, I think it's like 170. I mean, it's a lovely model. Don't get me wrong, but like, yeah, and you can't even magnetize a wing to make it fit. It's yeah.
Oh my god. Okay.
So I've bought some 9-litre XL boxes which have a bigger lid to let it fit in. Same thing I had to buy for Conquest, not Conquest.
Mastodon.
Yes, Mastodon. That's the one. So yeah, and that's
Cool.
actually been fairly useful because again, it just fits in with the rest of the system. I don't have to care. Plus, I've also got we now got one
Yeah,
of those.
I do like the system. I do like it. I've got one 9-litre really useful, sort of the long oblong one.
Yeah,
I like it, but I like the shorter squat ones that you take away. You take to Benson, so does Dom. You like them, and much as I love my IKEA boxes, they are. I see the benefit of the stackable and the universal fit kind of idea. That's a lot of deal.
yeah. No, it's good. It's good. It's good.
I've nearly gone through a whole tub or 150 milliliter tub of crackle paste. Most of it in October. In fact, almost all of it in October.
How was your birthday, Mike? Did you have a good one?
Oh, it was
Yeah, I've
good.
returned. I would say that. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got Lord of the Rings on 4K Blu-ray to watch, which is nice.
Hmm.
I got a Toblerone and some Finnish salted licorice, which was lovely.
Very nice.
Then in the evening we went out for barbecue food, which I like and Dad likes, and Mum was also there.
And she tolerates.
She had a very plain chicken salad.
Ah,
So Mum is not a lover of barbecue food, which I realise, so I don't ask for it every year for my birthday. But we did steak last year, which is very nice, but I would rather have barbecue any day of the week. So had some very nice brisket, some smoked sausage with jalapeno and cheese, and I think it's bacon burnt ends.
ooh, very nice.
Yeah, it was delicious.
You and I have very different relationships with food.
Oh, you can tell this by looking at us. I don't know what to say.
True. That's fair. You say that. That's all good. Yeah,
Yeah.
food. But I wouldn't speak of it in the joyous terms and the enthusiasm that you just just described your birthday meal.
Oh, see, now I will do that about like my own cookery or stuff other people have cooked as well. So, no, it's I like stuff that has big punchy flavors, um, and that's kind of it hasn't always been a thing. I've been told I used to be a lot more food sensitive,
Yes, that's just children.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was kind of hammered out of me as a child, but yeah. But yes, overall, very good birthday. Now I'm enjoying a week off. Um,
Wonderful.
Tomorrow I should be going around Jimmy's to play some Spearhead. Um,
Very nice.
I'm sorry.
and then oh god, so I've got a podcast tonight. Tomorrow I'm going around Jimmy's to play Spearhead. Wednesday, so there was an RPG group that once I came back to the Midlands kind of fell apart. And they contacted me not too long ago. Like, hey, we're thinking of starting RPGs back up again. I'm like, cool. Like, do you want to join in on the session? We've moved day now, so you can play. Oh, okay, fair enough. Still doing it remotely, fine. This rapidly turned into, Mike, can you run an RPG for us?
Oh God.
The forever DM.
I was like, yep, no, that's fine. Well, because we got there and we were meant to all bring like ideas. I was like, okay, I was thinking maybe we could run some Call of Cthulhu. There's a starter box. Wouldn't have to do much work. Anyone else got any ideas? Silence. Like, okay, so guess we're playing Call of Cthulhu then. So yeah, I've been prepping for that. So that's Wednesday.
Do you read Brandon Sanderson at all?
No, I don't.
Okay, I've just backed his RPG, ready for in a year or so.
So yeah, most of what I say reading, I've been listening to.
Yeah, I am very guilty of the Audible.
Yeah.
Too.
I've currently just finished listening to the Laundry Files first part again.
Oh, I was about to say, I love those. They're good. So in contrast, I started. We're talking to my eldest about Dresden. We both started listening to Dresden from the beginning.
Yeah.
She hasn't finished the first book, and I'm on book 4.
Oh dear.
Yeah, nearly finished book 4, and she hasn't finished book 1. But yeah, but I do like Laundry Files. It's very good.
I will say,
If you
Dresden first
don't
book.
come across that,
First book interesting. Second book,
yeah.
I think that's a bit of a shaky one.
It is. It doesn't have the substance, but book 3 and 4 definitely pick up pace. 4 is very good.
Oh yes, very definitely. Yeah, yeah.
Generally speaking, it's regarded that it takes a bit to find its feet because he doesn't have the whole arc. He must have some ideas at the start, but didn't have the arc or the progression. He talked about it, but he didn't have it. So it was. I like, yeah, 3 and 4. 4 especially is good, kind of fairies and everything, and
Well,
really kicks off.
the first one was written as a bet, pretty much, from what I understand.
All right, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was. I'm pretty sure he was told that he was bet that he couldn't mash two random genres together, and it was magic and detective noir.
Oh
I was
wow,
about to say, is Dresden the noir one? I think I've read the first
yeah,
couple of those.
It's what it's now
love
technically
it
called
all.
urban fantasy.
Urban fantasy.
Oh, that's yeah, because that came from Gaiman to an extent, wasn't it as well? Yeah,
Yeah.
Shiny Medieval's definitely dabbled in that area too.
I'm a huge gaming fan, I must say.
Less
Uh,
now than I used to be. I was a huge mega fan when I was younger.
I'll say, obviously putting aside recent controversies because we don't know. I've liked a lot of what Neil Gaiman's done because he takes classic fantasy stuff and presents it in a slightly different
Yeah,
way.
Yeah.
Neverwhere, for instance, just
yeah, I like
Oh,
Neverwhere.
Neverwhere was okay.
oh
I did enjoy
Very good.
Neverwhere, but
ju-
like,
yeah,
God,
I love Neverwhere.
people always go Bad Omens. It's like the best parts of Bad Omens are Pratchett, unfortunately.
Good Omens.
So I came into Good
Good Omens,
Omens.
sorry.
A friend of mine at college, a mate of mine at college, had a hardback early copy, and I read it just as it was coming out in like 1990, and I had not heard of Gaiman at that point. I'd read lots of Pratchett, read the first maybe 4 or 5 Pratchett books at this point, and read it because of Pratchett and loved it. Then discovered Gaiman a little bit later, not many, like a year or 2 later. Sandman was coming out and stuff in reprints and stuff, and then have reread it. It's my most reread book because I think of that journey of kind of going, Pratchett is amazing. I'm going, wait a minute, who's this Gaiman guy? Oh, this is rather good. It's I've gone on a journey where I thought he was utterly amazing, and then I kind of got to a point of going, it's out of it now. I like the Good Omens TV series. Second series was very good.
I stopped watching the first series of Good Omens because I wasn't enjoying it.
I enjoyed the
Kind of
first one. I
nailed it.
didn't watch the second one.
I think
I
partially.
like the second one because it's the story I've known since I was like 18, 19. And there was some new stuff for this story that I've loved for years. So I kind of like, I really enjoyed it. I like what they did with it. It was clever.
I think for me the problem was that okay, Tennant and Michael Sheen are
Gene.
they're really good actors, but for me they're not those characters. For me,
Okay.
those characters are Mark Heap and Peter Serafinovitz because I heard
Oh, the radio play.
I heard the radio version, so that's them for me.
I do like the radio play. It's good.
Yeah.
Anything Dirk Max does is just awesome.
Just to go back to Dresden Files for a second. So Jim Butcher enrolled in a writing class in the mid '90s, and he was
Yeah.
encouraged to write a novel similar to Anita Blake Vampire Hunter, rather than the more traditional high fantasy that had been his focus in the past. Butcher previously stated he enjoyed the Anita Blake series. Despite the initial resistance, he wrote the first book that semester, closely following the instructions of his teacher, who's an author, Deborah Chester. And this is the quote. When I finally got tired of arguing with her and decided to write a novel, as if it was some sort of formulaic genre writing drone, just to prove to how awful it would be, that's when I wrote the first book of the Dresden Files. So
I know that he got tired of it and wanted to write more other stuff, but his other stuff has never been anywhere near as successful as Dresden.
no,
I've never been. Everything I've looked at, you gotta go. I don't think we've watched it.
yeah, he can really write that noir genre fiction. He's got the voice for it, as the mental voice rather. But yeah, stuff outside that's a bit more.
Yeah, I can't get into it. I've looked at it and gone, yeah, no.
That was it. It was Full Moon. I didn't really like. Second
I like them. I like Werewolf One. Werewolf One's fun. I liked it. It's silly, but I like having re-listened to it recently. It's not the most amazing part of it.
No. You can tell he's still working on it.
Oh, totally.
And it is a book that is 21 years old. Oh no, sorry. Oh no, it's more than that. It's 23 years old. That's really confusing as a set of numbers, because Wikipedia have it listed as paperback release date, which is 2001, then the hardcover, which is 2008, which is the one that I kind of looked at, and then the audio release date, which is 2003. And I think is that the one they had to go and re-record with James Masters, or because there's one of them.
I listened to recently where. So I've got so they were all Penguin Audio, Busy Multimedia. So I've got the downloads of the earlier versions of some of them, and I've got one that's got an edit missing where where Dresden's getting grabbed by so I think it might be the third book, and James Masters goes, he's getting carried away, and then he goes, and then he puts me down and turns me around and went, oh crap, he picked him up by the front. Oh crap, fuck, right. And starts the sentence again, and they missed it on the edit. It's hilarious. It might just be because yes, I've got Audible and I've got some of them Audible, but I downloaded a big block of them because they're small files and easy to download. But they're not official forever.
Yeah. Anyway, should we make some allusion to possibly do a podcast? I don't know.
Yeah.
I did see
We could pretend to.
Yeah, I did see Bench on those.
He makes his apologies. He has to dart away.
That's absolutely fine. But I did see him online. I was like, oh, okay. So, yeah. So, what do we want to go through first? Do we want to go through the models first, and then maybe take a look at some rules after we finish discussing those? Or
Yeah,
I should download the app. 1 second. Where's my phone?
Oh, yeah, because they're all in there now. Look at bonkers nonsense like what? Yeah. Oh, and Glover, of course. Yeah, Black 13th are just going to be as lethal as ever. That's just awful.
Yes.
Oh my.
So this is.
Oh my
this
god!
Is what...
I've noticed there are 8 boxes as well. No, stop it.
They're 8, not 5. They're 8.
They're 8 boxes.
I like the fact that searching for War Machine gives me Warhammer 40,000 Tacticus.
Yeah, doesn't it just? Although weirdly, does it give you the 40k app as well?
No, just that.
Yeah,
And then it's the War
strange,
Machine
that.
after the
It's a
second
card
one.
game. Card game. Yeah.
Someone's doing their
Keyword
marketing work.
optimization. Either.
Oh,
Yeah.
requires a user. Okay.
Oh yeah, because you
They
can
already
subscribe
have.
to it. You don't have to.
No
You may
benefit to
already
me
have a
using my
username if you
old
don't.
one, right?
No benefit, but your old login and stuff may work from forums and stuff. It's amazing what does work on that.
I think I had to do a new one.
I've got my old one. I think it's the same. I think it's Kurt JH that I used to have on the forum.
How odd? How odd?
Oh my god, I'm using my
Downloading.
work
Okay.
laptop.
Right, that's
And
downloading now.
it's going to sleep a lot.
Right. Okay. Let's do the intro. Hello and welcome to Elite
Mike?
Cadre. Oh, there we go.
Are we recording?
Yes. Yes, we are recording. I've pressed the recording button. We're not going out to YouTube,
Mike,
which, you know,
Mike,
yes.
is Alex coming?
No, he is. Do you think he? Okay, we're talking about new stuff today. Do you think he has any idea of anything that's happened since Mark II?
Just
He
thought I'd
might know
ask.
Mark III exists.
Was he? I'm trying to remember.
If we could lie to him and say there's samurai in the game now, then he might join.
Was he there for the launch of Mark III? I can't remember.
Some of the old score models seem samurai-ish with their two swords and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh no,
that's true.
they
Yeah,
were.
I'll do that.
Well, they were. Was it the Hokusai
Arabian samurai kind of. Yeah.
way of fighting or something? I can't remember. There's like one weirdly Japanese word that's just stuck in the middle of the scorn book, and you go, oh, that's weird.
It's going to be our longest digression of the intro ever. Do you want to try again?
Longest digression of the intro ever. That started in episode 1. It hasn't finished yet. We're still meandering on like anything could happen.
Next half hour.
So yeah, that's the thing. So some people will probably be surprised that we're not streaming this live on YouTube as we normally do, but there again are reasons, because we have had well, first of all, we have to declare that this is not a paid for advertisement, but we have been sent a preview copy of the War Machine 2-player starter set by Steamforged. So
Have these gifted is the term?
yes, we have received a copy from them for free. However, they have no influence on the edit or anything else of the show. As a result, it was purely given as a sort of, hey, do you want to take a look? So, just so people are kind of clear on where we are. To be honest, trying to influence their opinions is an interesting one. We're not even sure what they are. So, first things first. I mean, Kurt, you got the box set first of all. Do you want to give a kind of brief overview of what we had?
So it's as you say, it's the 2-player starter. So it's a small force for Signar, expect to say Storm Legion, and a equivalent Cadre force. So I don't have a box in front of me, but in the box you get a Warcaster for each, a character Warjack, heavy character Warjack for each character unit, and a solo, I think, didn't you as well? Each arm, so you can literally take it out of the box and assemble it on the table. They are thick, almost push fit plastic miniatures for the first time. I think it was the first time we've seen plastics from for War Machine. We've seen plastic before in various guises, but not like this. Not wishing to say one brand against another, but it's very like Games Workshop in quality and style and everything else.
Yes.
Qualify that before Rush throws stuff at me. But I was just going to say there are advances and there are benefits over and above the competition. They've really pushed over.
So this is sprued hard plastic. It's not like CO cast or the PVC they've previously had, or
it's sprue hard plastic. I even cut a bit off and glued 2 bits together, as you asked me to, with polycement. It is polycement compatible plastic stuff.
So,
in fact, I have it in front of me now, and I'm using polycement to glue it together.
Just out of interest, because Kurt will know this more than yourself, I guess, because of just timing. So, is it the kind of hard plastic where it takes an extra couple of seconds compared to GWs, or it's roughly the same time to bond?
At the same time, really, it was about the same time. It was pretty quick.
So yeah, because obviously there are other games out there. Conquest is the one that I'm thinking of here. They have hard sprued plastic, but there's an extra bonding time, and I can't work out quite why. It's got to be a formulation in how they actually make their plastic.
Legion, Legion's a bit like that too. Legion you can glue together with cement, and it's that takes a moment.
Yeah.
So that's similar. It's sort of almost like it's a soft plastic, but it's not. It's not. Yeah, there's something slightly different. It will glue with the stuff. It will melt it, but it definitely takes a moment.
Yeah. So what?
Yeah, it's a lovely box. It also comes with a minimal amount of scenery. So it comes with another sprue with 4 walls on it. I think about 3 inches on walls, and a little. I think might supposed to be
I
pond,
have
but to be honest,
a brick wall. No, actually the walls are both the same. Like stone on the bottom, wood on the top. Probably like 3/4 of an inch tall. And then a little pond-like or hill, depending on how you want to play it.
yeah, it's got a weird little sort of like I don't know. You could argue there are bits of water movement, but you could also be the illusion of elevation. I think how you painted it, what you did with it, whether you stuck trees on it. You could use it for a few different things. It's very small though. It's a starting point though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Look,
it's an advantage over all those those of us who started with piles of books underneath a green tablecloth back
Right.
in the day. This is a hill, is it? Yes.
If it's not a hill, you can go home.
Yeah, exactly. There's some people I wish I'd told to go home a lot sooner. Okay, so that's a nice collection of stuff.
Yeah.
So
So
just looking at it on the sprue, obviously we'll go to Nick and you'll assembling it in a second. Just on the sprue, what kind of levels of detail? Soft detail or very fine detail, or kind of how chunky and stuff was it?
I'm just getting the Cadre sprue back out again. Next thing. I think I'd say it's a mix. So I think it's got some good chunky detail on the jacks, on the jack, but when you actually get down to the caster and individual people, I think there's some really impressive fine detail too. I think it's fair to say they've focused on the painting side of it, of how easy it would be to get this. I think it would be very easy to get this on the table looking reasonable very quickly.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. I was just going to say the same kind of thing. I'm literally doing the Warcaster backpack at the moment, and it's got every little detail you'd want in it. The piece is really quite small, but then I built the jack. The jack's nice and chunky. I assume this is Ace 2. I actually didn't look at the rules before.
Hang on. We've got the name now. It's not Ace 2. It's Deuce.
Deuce. Okay. He's got a nice 2 on the side of him, and he kind of looks like Ace. So
yeah.
But he's pretty cool. He's mostly like big chunky details, but like even you can see the finger joints on the fingers underneath the whatever that weird 3-pointy stabby fist punching thing is. You can see all the bits down the arm. You can see all the runes down the gun. So you've got nice big pieces and nice tiny pieces, all pretty well represented, really.
Yeah, he does have that lovely. I say lovely. The Spellstorm cannon, which I've just realised actually does get Kane's feet, so he gets the double attack type. Oh no. oh no. Reload, powerful attack, multiple attack types. However, expensive, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. Well, compared to what? But yeah.
Yeah.
We're all impressed. And so the other thing that's worth mentioning, because once I got them, I did reach out to Russ, who's sculptor, Steamforge, and did talk about, because he had talked about the technological advancements they'd made, and they'd learned a lot through building it through the he came on and talked to us about some of that on the last podcast. Last one or before. He gave me a clue of look at the edge, and I don't know if you noticed, Nick, but the sprue doesn't go all the way around all of it.
No, it's like nicely cut out bits.
The cut out bits apparently were to do with how they were able to create inset detail on the edge. So for example, I'm looking at the Cadre jack, and the 2 chimney stacks aren't short bits that you stick on like you find that you would assume you might find. The side pieces are let down in the sprue, and the chimneys point out towards where the edge would be, but there isn't an edge there. So the actual chimney stacks have a recess, and it's due to the experimentation and the advancements they've made with the manufacturing process. It's very impressive.
I will say, having had a look at some of the photos of the sprue itself, I was actually kind of impressed because I didn't think you could get what they got done with effectively. I mean, they must be using two-piece steel molds still.
Yeah, I should say.
Um, I just didn't think you could do some of what they've done with that. Which, yeah, no, it's interesting to see
No,
where the technology's gone.
and there's been a lot of experimentation and pushing boundaries and understanding limitations and looking at the manufacturing techniques. Not just I get the impression I don't know this, but not just in gaming, but in just in manufacturing and plastics in general, and looking at where where they could go with it and what they could do and how they could push the boundaries. Really, I think I keep saying that, but that's seems to be what so I think they're going to keep going further with it and seeing how much further they can, what more they can do with the material.
Yeah, interesting.
One thing they have said is about how much more weight, how much more resistant to kind of forces. But it's so Games Workshop have made a lot of inches that stand on almost nothing. We're going to see a similar thing coming. It wouldn't surprise me if we saw a similar thing coming from Privateer, excuse me, from Steamforge on War Machine. New, I expect.
I mean, Kane looks like he's literally standing on 1 foot. Kind of trying to figure out how this piece goes together at the moment. But yeah, but he's literally on 1 foot at the front.
Well, I think we're seeing more and more of that with pretty much every miniature range that's got the ability to do more dynamic posing. Um, Hopefully, this means the death of flight stands in every system known to man.
We can but hope.
Yeah. No one like those in War Machine. No one likes them anywhere else. Please stop.
I think when you had third party like smoke trails to mount your miniatures on, that should have been a clue for everybody a long time ago, but it didn't seem to land.
Yeah, yeah, and those did look particularly impressive with the Rocketmen. Was it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I bought a set. I have a full unit on rocket on a 3D printed
The
streams. They're just awesome.
only
Rec
th-
rooms.
only thing I would say for those jetpack trails is you do need to get your eye in on painting smoke and maybe even doing a little bit of object source lighting
But
because
some sense of the heat. Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
yeah, because so that could be a little bit tricky for a novice. So I can kind of see why you'd still argue
Yeah.
for a flight stand, even though they are
Horrible.
shocking. Yeah. Okay. So we've got an idea of kind of what's in there. The terrain. I mean, one thing I would say is purely from the point of view of someone who's kind of heard about this from the outside. I do feel perhaps that terrain doesn't necessarily best represent War Machine. I think it needs
No, I'd agree.
I think it needs one more piece, and that would be something that's like a small ruined building or whatever that blocks line of sight, just as a kind of introduction to, hey, here's
An L shape.
yeah,
Corner of a building L shape. Is that what you mean? I was being silly.
L shapes, so many of those.
I know, that's why I was being silly.
Yeah, no, I have 4 to paint up next to me for a spearhead. But yeah, it's just something that blocks line of sight.
Some kind of obstruction. Absolutely agreed. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that'd be it. I'll be interested to see what the starter game is meant to present as kind of other than kill the opposing caster if there's a scenario there, because
Oh, that'd be interesting.
we don't know yet because obviously Nick, you've had a look at the instructions, and at the moment the links in there don't go anywhere, so we don't know if they're going to be
Yeah, obviously we've
released
got this
later.
before Street Date, and so everything's still locked down on Steamforged and online.
Yeah.
So I guess no one can sneakily get in there before it comes out. So yeah, so we don't have the how to play guide. We don't actually have the instructions on the sprue, like how to build it together. But everything is numbered, and if you take the pieces out in numerical order, they fit together pretty much as you would expect them to. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously there's kind of a little bit more we don't know yet, but I'd be interested in seeing if they've got like a proper scenario or something that kind of involves
That'd be
those
cool. I hadn't thought of
starting
that.
blocks. Yeah, I mean, for me, that's a no-brainer. Like you've got, was it 4 walls and is it 1 pond or 2?
Two, I believe, right?
So
Because
you,
there's one that you
Yeah,
sent to Mika and one that's gone to
yep,
Benj.
so,
absolutely.
so you've got 6 pieces of scenery. I would say, you already know what's in there. You can set up something, even if it's only a 1-page, weird, fun scenario to go, hey, this is the battle that's taking place. Here are your very basic objectives. It might be, I wouldn't say the full steamroller rules because that was never in the rule book, but you always have those very basic like versions of that in there.
Introduce you to objective play straight away, right? Most of us,
Yeah,
if we had a demo game, our very first demo game was just assassinate the enemy warcaster.
Well,
Um,
it was a battle box game. You had 1 caster, 2 to 3 jacks depending on faction, and it was kill the enemy caster. Which
yeah,
for
and I
us,
think mine was with Mercs, and it was the knockdown, and it was just knockdown, pelt the enemy caster. Oh, I've won on turn 3 by accident, or turn 2 by accident, or something
yeah,
like that. And it's not really the greatest introduction to the game. So now you've got a little more than just the Warcaster and some jacks. You've got the solo and the unit. Well, it's not a unit, is it?
no,
Is it a Warcaster unit?
it's a unit.
Oh, is it
it's
units?
a
Yeah.
character unit. Both have got a
Oh, I'm
character unit.
thinking
I
of
think
because it was
Solo's
Kane
got a
3 was with the Black
Yes.
13th, wasn't he? So that's why I was thinking it's a Warcaster unit, and then
Yeah. Kane was filling in because they were a Black 13th member down. But
yeah.
since then, they've gone off and recruited another one, so they're back up to 3, so they've kicked Kane out again.
So he's just tagging along with them for funsies.
Yeah.
And then you've got Solo as well, right? I don't know actually.
Yeah,
Is the guy with the shotgun the new 13th member, or is it the guy with the sniper?
So the shotgun is Bastion Falk, who's got a promotion since Mark III. He
Nice.
was a lieutenant, is now a captain. And the new guy in the Black 13th is, I think, pistol and knife. Guy called.
Oh, so the sniper was in it before, wasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yep. So for going on the Black 13th, you've got Ryan, who's 2 pistols.
Yeah.
Rifle is Watts,
Yeah.
and Glover is the new guy. So you've got this odd thing where there's a unit called the Black 13th. They don't have
Another
a number.
unit.
They don't have a number, despite being like the 3rd iteration of that unit, but that's fine. Which contains Ryan 3, Watts 3, and then Glover 1.
number one.
It's like this feels very unsatisfying. They also, because of something unique they've done with this unit that I'm like, I'm not sure about this. They can't put the stats on the line in, I was going to say War Room, the War Machine app.
Oh, that's what you mean.
Yeah, because rather than
The name characters.
So in Mark IV, all those units that had unique granted things and slightly odd stats, they kind of homogenized them. So if you go back to the Great Bears, they don't give unique things to each other anymore. They're just 3 dudes. The Black 13th do. They have unique granteds. They have unique weapon sets. They have unique stats.
This thing that it stopped doing. Back.
Hmm?
They had stopped doing that, hadn't they? So like
Yes,
Roman and
yeah.
his crew and
So just to look at the quickly at the rules, you've got Ryan who grants Prey and Prowl, but then Watts grants Reposition and Prowl, and Glover grants True Sight and Prowl.
So they all grant
They
Prowl.
have Prowl
The
anyway.
Prowl's
Why
never
they
going away.
all grant Prowl? No
So
idea.
the Prowl will never go away.
No.
That's why.
Yeah. Also, actually, looking at the stat lines.
It doesn't need to be granted, does it? It could just be innate for them. They could all just have Prowl, couldn't they? But never mind.
Yeah. The raw numbers actually are the same. Speed 6, Mat 6, Rat 7, Def 15, Arm 12. Huh.
Oh, even Glover. Okay.
They could put that stat line in there. Take notes,
Oh, yeah.
Gameforged. You could put that there. It would make it a bit more accessible. I mean, obviously, yes, they will still have their unique things, and we can talk about that in a bit. But I believe that the Cadre equivalent, which is not the Assault Commandos, the Hounds are very clearly Assault Commandos that aren't.
Okay, Sound Commanders, yeah.
Yeah, they have the same thing. And they're a point cheaper, they'd have to be. And the names for the Hounds.
Go on. What are they?
So
I haven't looked them up yet.
There's Teteria.
Terrier.
Fidiniac, and Scribala.
Scribala.
It is all over the place. I was like, okay.
See, when you said Terrier, I thought, all right, here come the dog puns for the Hounds.
No.
And then they went away.
And then they've got their extra dude. He's Sergeant Goran Lazarenko, the Jackal. Which is like one of the longest names in the entire of the War Machine app.
I see.
Yeah, it's.
It made me glad they play Cadre.
Yeah, he's just going to be Goran. That's it. He's just
Goram.
Sergeant Goran. That's done.
Goram. Wait, how many hands does Kane have?
Two.
going to
I
guess
think he's
two.
got more than 2 hands.
Well, A11 is a right-handed pistol. A12
Alternatives,
is
perhaps.
also a right-handed pistol. A13 is a left-handed pistol, and A13-1 is a different left-handed pistol.
Are they
A12, 1 and
practical?
A12, yeah, they're alternatives. Got it. I just didn't see the one. There we go. So I can decide which one of these looks cooler. Do I want to have the blast, or do I want and the smoke, or do I just want?
He's kind of got his hand out, or he's got a pistol. Yeah, he could do a.
He's got the pistols pointing the same either way. It's just whether you want the smoke effect at the end of the barrel and the mid shot, or whether you just want it blank. So
it's a completely separate pistol, depending on whether you want the smoke effect or not.
Yeah, completely whole new hand, whole new pistol.
So I actually kind of approve of that one because
Yeah.
if there are glue-in smoke or bullet effects, those often tend to be really tiny, fiddly, annoying pieces. So just have a separate pistol. It's like, you don't want this? That's fine. Just use this.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Anyone who ever tried to glue on, I'm trying to think, what's the name of that Rulik engineer? He had a welding torch.
Oh,
That's familiar. Yes, it's Solo. Yeah.
Yeah. So he actually had a welding torch that had a separate flame, gluing that thing on. I just looked at the contact point on that metal and just went, no, I'm not doing this. You cannot make me.
in a move that will surprise no one, I of course have gone for the smoke and the pistol shot.
I look forward to seeing get ready to painting that later. Oh, actually, that size.
That's the whole point.
Yeah, that size painting, it's not a problem. You kind of, you can almost get away with just like paint it dark grey and then dry brush on some lighter grey and then dry brush on some very sort of light stuff at the end, so you get that effect of unburned powder in the centre and smoke at the edges.
Yep, that's 100% what I'm planning to do. Honest.
I love I'm planning to do it. Whether I do it or not, it doesn't matter. But I'm going to admit to planning it. I'm not going to admit to doing it or telling you when I'm going to do it.
It wasn't at all what I was planning to do. I was going to think about that later.
Yeah. It is a perfectly valid thing to do. Like, if you just want to paint it grey, paint it grey. Like, we are not the painting police.
But you could be.
I mean, yeah,
I
sure.
don't know. Where do I sign up?
You're going to turn it to every painting competition and go, that clearly has not had enough effort put in. No, it's not first. It's fourth. Take it away.
Yeah, you can't give that. You can't give that first. It's just not. This is not effort. There's no technique. Like no.
What is this, Nick? Dry brushing? Get out.
Dry
Thankfully,
brush and
you and I
dip.
have had that
That's what,
conversation about a
that's what,
painting competition.
that's what you should expect from me.
No, I approve of dry brushing. That's perfectly allowed. You have to like, you have to do it well, but
Well,
brushing is great.
this,
Providing you're not doing what I did when I was 17, dry brushing up to white to make it look horrible.
what I will say is, like, not to derail into the usual paint train, but all paint techniques have their place. Like, whatever
Great.
you've learned, whatever you do, there's a reason for doing it somewhere. It's finding that appropriate point and actually mastering the technique that does become the issue.
The contrast paint belongs on your miniature.
I mean, or in the pot. That's also an alternative.
It can go there. It can go there. That's true. Yeah. If only if it's on its way to the no, that's right.
Yeah. Okay. So is there anything else we can talk about with regards to the models that are in the box? So you're saying it looks fairly. Just to give a comparison, like how easy build are we talking compared to, say, the something like the Warhammer Underworld's push fit stuff?
I haven't done the Warhammer Underworld stuff, so I can't comment. What I can say is while we've been talking about this, which has been about 45 minutes, I have built Deuce and I have built Kane. So that's two of the models already down off the sprue, pushed together. When I was putting together Deuce, there's a lot of them are the weird shaped keys where you click push together.
Yeah.
There's a few pegs in the middle. The pegs slotted together so well that when I was just testing how the fit goes, it then wouldn't come apart.
Yeah.
And I had to properly pull it apart to be able to get the glue in and get the head in, because that was the body piece and I hadn't put the head in yet.
Now,
to be able to do that.
As we were discussing this before the show, Kurt and I both know how you solve this problem, and that is you don't solve it. It's like, oh, that's a really nice tight fit. Let's get some really thin poly cement and just run that in the crack so that the liquid will run round the groove and seal it. Which is like, if it's already not coming out, you're adding that little bit of strength to it. But yeah, just as a point of future thing that like isn't obvious when you're looking at it.
I am building with I've got an army painter like hobby set that I picked up a while back that's got some plastic glue in it, a file, a scalpel, a drill, some tweezers, not tweezers, what are they called? Clippers, and some green stuff, and then some scalping tool for the green stuff. So that's what I'm building with, and then just a hard mat to
interesting.
go on. I haven't really had to use much. Used the file a little bit, and then mostly just used the clippers, and that's been it.
Didn't know they'd introduced green stuff into the mix. That's good. I like that, because that really should be.
Yeah, I do too. It's very nice.
That should be a basic hobby tool in everyone's kit, and not for like, oh, I can sculpt extra detail on this. Like, green stuff is a great way of just doing hobby nonsense that just really like, oh, I just need to fill this hole here. Just jam some of that in. It's probably fine. That'll only last 10 years. It's a temporary fix. There's nothing more permanent. And I do.
I still favour blue tack with a bit of super glue over the top. And I can't be bothered with green stuff or mixing it or messing about with it. I've got blue tack right there.
See, I don't have blue tack on my desk, but I do have a roll of. Now I forget what the proper term for it is. Needite?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the blue, the blue and yellow putty that comes in a roll. I've had it for so long, the edges have started to go a bit hard, and it doesn't quite mix. Doesn't mix as well as it used to. But if you take the hard bits out, it works.
Yeah.
So the last time I used that was actually on some Warhammer Underworlds bases, because someone in their infinite wisdom decided that sculpted bases should not have a flat point on the underside to glue anything, which is a real pain when all your stuff is secured by magnets. So I've had to kind of fill in a bit of the underside and go glue, green stuff, glue, magnet, it'll probably hold.
That is an interesting choice they've made with this, because normally in the past, like your starter boxes have been generic Jack A that you could potentially make as option A, option B, or option C, right?
Yep.
And now they've moved to the magnetized version of those. This doesn't have that, right? Because it's the character Jack, there's no magnets involved.
I haven't had this confirmed, but this is a pattern that's happening throughout everything, and it's really interesting to see how the boxes have been reconfigured. Because now you've got all the Cadre boxes and the main Force boxes have a character Jack in. Your multi-part Jacks are effectively only either on their own or in a battle box. So they've done it so that if you buy one copy of the box, you have your character Jack. That's it.
Yeah.
That's your one copy you need. Rather than, oh, I need 2 of this Jack that's only with Kane. Well, guess I'll buy a spare copy of Kane, a Bastion Folk, and a character unit that I can't use. And that I can't get rid of either because everyone who wants it has got it. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, if you're going to do those SKUs where there's like 4 or 5 things in each, it's an intelligent move. And as well as that, it means that everything is its own little army if you look at how it's been configured. So you have the Annihilator Cadre. That's its own army that comes with 1 Jack. You've got Medveditsu comes with the standard Winter Corps. You've got Razor.
Some of them already had. Some of the cadres already had like War Beasts or War Jacks with them. But yeah, it's interesting that they've moved things. They are moving things.
Yeah.
Sorry, I lost a foot, so I had to go under the desk to find the foot.
Just be thankful you have not made the mistake that I have learned happened at Games Workshop with that one. So the area for testing models and new sprues and everything like that had to be refitted at some point. So everyone was moved out, all the stuff was cleaned out, carpets ripped up, furniture taken out, replaced. That was fine. So you've got a place where all this sprue building and testing is taking place. What colour do you make the carpets?
Grey.
Exactly. They were.
I have a grey rug underneath me, but luckily it landed on the laminate floor, so I was able to see it.
Yeah. So that's according to what's his name? I know he's peachy from many podcasts, but according to him, that is a genuine thing that happened in Games Workshop.
My general learning, and it's only really happened since moving to this house, so just maybe 14, 15 months ago, is to regularly clean under my hobby desk. I've never done it before in my life until moving here, and some of that's because I'm cohabiting and not living by myself and irresponsible. Actually, underneath my hobby desk now gets cleaned on a fairly regular basis. That makes dropping things and finding things so much better because there wasn't just this sea of bits of clipped sprue or something else underneath where the little head that you've just dropped has gone into. So you can't even feel it in the carpet. You can't see it. You can't distinguish it. Oh my god! I finally learned after more years than I care to mention.
I have no doubt that at some point when this room gets cleaned out, there will be bits of models I lost 20 years ago behind every single cupboard. Just because you get to a point on a sprue, you clip it and it goes ping. Like, oh. Well, I heard it bounce off something. Guess I'm never finding that again.
Yeah, can't exactly fast follow of that when he pings off a sprue. There's no fast follow over that, is there? Where you drop a piece of a similar size and that'll help you find the other bit.
Nope. There's bits of Sisters of Battle. I forget the name of the tank in here somewhere. It's meant to be it's meant to be a ram from the front, and it's very ornate and fleur-de-lis-ish. And I was like, well, I've lost part of that. Guess I'll make a replacement out of bits of sprue and some spikes. Seems to work. We don't talk about it too much. It's fine. don't look at the underside of the model. But back onto War Machine. So okay, I think we've kind of gone over enough of the those models now. From everything I'm hearing, it's good stuff. It's nice, easy to build. You get a bit of terrain in there as well. Obviously, we'd like a bit more, but we can always ask for more.
I think for if you were literally, this is your starting entry point into War Machine, this is a fantastic piece of kit.
Yeah.
And if there is that little game mode that has a bit of objective play as well as assassinate in there, then 100% this will be what you would recommend anyone to get. It won't be a see which army you fancy and just pick up their Cadre box. You could literally probably play this as like a mini tabletop-y. You can pick the X-Wing starter and things like that as like tabletops casual games. You could potentially do that with this 2-player starter.
Yeah. No, that sounds very much like the realm that it's supposed to be in. Which, okay, that's good. That's good. So I guess now we can kind of have a look at a bit of the models that are in there, because obviously we haven't discussed too much what's coming in each of these. So kind of one of the headline ones for Signar was the return of Kane.
Wait.
As Kane 4.
Is he the first 4 Warcaster?
Butcher, but no, Butcher. We've had several. How many Butchers have we had?
A Butcher 4.
Hang on. I do need to check something, because it would be ultimately quite amusing if he's been pipped by someone else. Where are we?
It's okay. We'll get Kane 5 eventually.
Magnus 4.
Ah.
Oh, I thought I'd seen one somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, which is really weird because they've skipped Magnus 3, and we think we know why.
We think we know why.
We think...
Yeah. You had one. You had a one, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah. Magnus 1 was the one with the weird running free strikes feat. Then 2 was the pick 2 table edges feat. Which, by the way, in one mode of the game was utterly broken because of how a table edge was defined, and no one ever caught on to that, and it went away very quickly. But there are people suggesting that the reason there is no Magnus 3 is because that's the eventual Signar version of him.
Okay.
Because at the moment, Magnus the Unstoppable is, I am all of the factions.
We had a solo version, didn't we? But that was very limited, wasn't it? There was like a solo 3. He came back with Vintner, but that wasn't really official mainstream, was it?
That was in Vinter. That was the no quarter version of him, right?
Yeah, I don't think that ever made it into a war room.
Okay.
It would be interesting if that was a 3. Anyway, the speculation is currently that the 3 is the Signar version. But why they've done it this way, your guess is as good as mine. But yes, we do currently have so Major Alistair Kane with Rat 9 base. Yep, that fits. Gunfighter. Yep.
Yeah, of course.
Yep. Evasive. So if he's hit by an enemy range attack, providing he isn't already dead, he can move 2 inches.
Let's do a little dance.
Yep.
Little dance.
Which he also gives to his battle group, which for those warjacks is going to be interesting. Headshot, so no tough rolls. And also gives headshot to all gun mages within 10 inches. I feel this is a sad day because the rule Elite Cadre has been removed to be replaced with Leadership. And quite frankly, it's not.
Welcome to Leadership, the War podcast.
Not changing the name of the podcast.
No, especially as I also have recently acquired a token set and stole your borrowed the logo. It's not borrowed the logo, but you sent the graphic in, and I had managed to use the one that you sent in, and I've done the same myself.
Oh, very nice.
So no, we have to change the name of the logo.
Yeah. So for reference, both Kurt and I have trays of stuff made by Monstrous Makings, I believe it is.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
They do very nice work, they supplied me with many widgets. Yeah, which I'm hoping to get more made, but that's still in discussions.
I like the token sets as well. He isn't doing. It's a very limited range of token sets, but I do have the Chimera token set. I'm very happy with it.
Well, the one thing about Chris at Monster Making is that he will do commission pieces. So whatever you want, you can ask, and he'll give you a price, depending on how much work he's got on at the time. So I'm waiting for a free slot before I can get some work off him. So yeah. Anyway, back to Kane, because we've digressed again.
As always.
Yeah. He has 2 spell portals. Has him.
Nice. Very good.
I'll put my teeth back in now. He's got 2 Spellstorm pistols, both Roth 1 with Reload 1 because he needs to pay for his reloads. Both of which have some interesting attack types. So you got Heart Seeker, which is gain additional die on damage rolls. Discard the lowest in each roll. Thunderbolt, so he can knock people down on critical hits. And, Witch Mark, which means if he hits you, he can put a spell on you. Just automatically. Which is kind of rude. To be honest, given he's got Calamity. Which, yeah.
I see it as an interesting collection or amalgam of previous Canes. It's interesting.
Yeah, he doesn't
Okay.
feel. He doesn't feel like he's going to just kill you if he gets within, like, range of you, right?
Oh, he's not as insta death as Kane 2.
He's chilled out a little bit in
It's
his
very
old
Kane
age.
1, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a bit Kane 1, isn't it, as well?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's
Fun Kane, as I'm concerned, for everyone.
his feat, for instance, actually does benefit his army, not just him as well, which is almost unheard of. So it's
Plus 2 power, magical, blessed.
Oh, well, while in Kane's control range, friendly gun mage and friendly faction warjack models, ranged weapons, gain blessed, magical, and plus 2 pow. When a friendly faction model makes an attack with a weapon with attack types while in Kane's control range, that model can choose 2 special rules instead of 1. Arcane Conflagration lasts 1 turn.
So he's got Heartseeker, Thunderbolt, and Witchmark.
Yep.
And he can, on his feet, he can choose 2 of those. That's pretty good.
Per shot. Of which he
Per
has
shot.
4.
4?
I wanted to say 5 is right.
Oh, yeah, because he's got Reload 1 on them. So he can tap, then reload, tap.
Yeah, well, it's...
Oh, reload.
It's one focus to reload each pistol, so...
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that's because you can't just buy ranged attacks.
Yes. Yeah, you always...
Can, but you can't do it.
Yeah, the way that ranged attacks were calculated changed. You now always get your full Roth.
Yeah.
And if you can buy more, that comes under reload. Which makes more sense than the old system of, like, I've got rate of fire too. How many times can you fire? Once. Okay. This doesn't make any sense, but whatever. Spell slots, Calamity, as mentioned. So, -2 Def and Arm, which is horrific. Heightened reflexes. So, target model cannot be knocked down or made stationary for a round. Which on Kane is pretty essential sometimes. And
all the time.
Yes, and teleport. So, place the spellcaster anywhere within 6 inches of its current location. Then its activation ends. Now, that's effectively the 1 version of Kane, I believe.
Yeah, it's the keep Kane safe rather than the go for the kill Kane.
And he has 2 rack slots on top. What I mean to say is he's got 1 rack slot and snipe.
I mean, the only Calamity's an upkeep, right? So he's either Calamitying or sniping.
No, this is the thing. Calamity is on the opponent.
Oh, do upkeeps count differently whether they're opponent or friendly?
Yeah, you can have multiple. So you can have as many upkeeps out as you want.
Oh yeah, you can pay the upkeep for them, but you can't put multiple upkeeps on the same unit.
Exactly, it's 1 enemy and 1 friendly per unit.
Yeah.
Unit
okay.
mod.
Cool. Yeah. So snipe's probably. I mean, because even if he's not taking snipe, he can put it on the Black 13th or put it on gun mages.
Yeah. Yeah. Now whether you then want things like, ooh, what else would he want from that list? I mean, he doesn't want chain lightning. That's never happening.
Blur still, Blur still on the list.
No, there
Where do you
is.
see the rack slots in the app?
So if you scroll down to under the command cards,
I'm in the
Or
build of
just look at the main
force at the
list.
moment.
yeah.
If you go into
Uh,
cards and go right to the bottom, you can. If you go
yeah.
build a force, then click on
Ah, there we go.
the cog on him, and you can see what you can add.
Yeah.
Wait, hang
Yeah,
on.
there's
So
a
we've got.
blur. Deflection might be good. Depends on what you're playing into. Because you can choose these things at the point of going on the table, so it depends what you're playing into as well. You can make that
Yeah.
selection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your rack is chosen per matchup,
Okay.
which is very useful because there are.
Okay, shield's another good one.
I mean, yeah, if you just want a generic, I want something to survive. Yeah, Arcane Shield is always perfectly acceptable.
That's the first one you swap out for something else. Perhaps that my thinking was okay, shield's a good default, and then depending on what you're playing into.
Yeah. I mean, he probably wouldn't take Jackhammer. I can't imagine his Jacks wanted to get in there and get the fist dirty. Yeah, I think Snipe's the obvious one. Oh, Tax Supremacy. That could be an interesting
Maybe I shouldn't
one.
have that.
So just giving
Repo.
Unit Repo 3.
More range, but more distance.
Yeah.
Black 13th.
I can't remember if the Black 13th have Repo already. Yes, they do, from Watts.
Oh, okay.
So maybe not. But even then, so if I just scroll through now and go, well, what doesn't have Repo? Deuce has Repo. I mean, Falk.
You don't
doesn't
even
have
need
Repo.
force hammer, right? Because you've got the thunderbolt shot.
Well, see now, if you hit them with I forgot the name of the shot already. If you hit them with Witchmark,
Yeah.
you can then force hammer without boosting
You could, yeah.
because it automatically hits. So if they're next to a wall or a warjack or whatever, it's like, yep, bang, straight through, goodbye.
AAT is arcane attack, right? So at the moment
Yes.
you're on 6 for trying to hit with a force hammer, but if you hit with a witch mark at rat 9,
Yep.
yeah, no, that could be good.
See, you're not even committing to casting that force hammer until you know you've hit.
Yeah.
So it's a very different
Expensive.
battlefield out there. Oh yeah, no, absolutely. But
I mean, he's only got arcane 6, right? So
yeah.
you're basically dropping him down to all but nothing focus.
Yeah. Oh, don't get me wrong. It is a tool in the toolbox, and it is very much a I think I can kill you right now. If I knock you down in front of the army, I'm not taking any. Well, maybe he uses his command card to get one extra focus to do something with.
Where's my squire when I want it?
You've
On
got
the shelf, Gallagher.
You've got a built-in squire every single game with a command card now. Just be happy with that.
That's 1 focus, not 3.
Yes, true, but 3 was broken. But yeah, so I mean, I think, yes, you're right, Kane is not the absolute murder-the-face assassin he was, but I think he's got a lot of game to him. Although, having played against him with someone who missed the fact that I feated as Baron over and had Fog of War up, so she was def 17 in the open with -4 range. That didn't go well. But if he gets a decent line of sight on a mediumly squishy caster, he's got a very good chance to take them out.
Well, he's setting his battle group and his
Yes.
Black 13th up to finish off the new one. That's more the key. It's kind of he's not a lone gunman anymore. He's not a super solo. He will set up the finishing move, and then the others will be very well poised to
I mean,
just remove
it,
whatever
re-
you sell.
it really helps that he's got, say, something like, oh no, a character jack. If we move on to Deuce.
Deuce feels. I know we haven't started on the rules yet, but Deuce feels very focus hungry,
Ah,
which is probably why he starts with like accumulator gun mage.
so you've got power up, first of all. There's your first focus. Then you've got accumulator gun mage. Well, now you're on 2. It's like, okay, I'll include a single engineer. I have 3 focus every turn. Like
Is power up a command card or?
no,
Oh,
that's
every jack, every turn.
Yep.
Oh, every jack every turn just gains a focus now.
Yep.
If they start in the
Ooh.
control area.
Yes.
If they
Okay.
start, if they start the command phase in the control area, they get a
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Think of
Okay. Okay.
Cortex.
So you're
Think of
already
Cortex
getting
as well.
2.
Yeah.
So, because so accumulator gun mage. Oh yeah, and then engineer can just give him a third. That's actually really really good.
Yeah.
Unit of mechanics, which are very
Oh,
good.
is it units for Signal?
Yeah, Nick,
Okay.
I have three units of mechanics.
Oh yes, there we
They're
go.
really good.
Arcane mechanics.
Arcane mechanics, right? Three lines. They are speed 5. They're def 12. They're armor 17. 5 boxes. That's your mechanics.
Yeah.
Pretty strong.
And every turn,
This is really cool.
they can choose. Well, they can choose between empowering the Warjack to give it a focus point, or repairing it for D3+1. There is also arcane reinforcement, which gives them magical weapons.
Magical weapons.
Which
Just in
can
case
be
they have
useful.
to go hit something.
Yeah.
Could be really useful. And they can really good for objective holding. They're amazing. They're fantastic.
Yeah, late game objective holders, they are very nice. With their 4-inch ranged weapon.
And they're 5 points for 3 very chunky boys.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt that they're pretty tidy. But yes, back to Deuce. So you've got your accumulator. You've got Repo 3 as a base, which for a ranged jack, if you can set them up for the next turn so they can stand still, base rat 7 up to rat 9 if you stand still. That's not too bad.
Plus powerful attacks.
I was just going to say, there's another one you've missed in there. True Sight.
Wait. Oh yeah, True Sight.
Ignores
Who cares about?
Ignores stealth. Ignores cloud effects. Yeah, that's bad. On top of that, so I mean, this is a heavy jack. This is not your old kind of ace who is a light. But now you've got attack types. So a beatback gun, a blast, which makes it AoE 2, POW 12/6, which is okay. The 6 is a bit, whatever. But you take it. It's fine. And then decrepitation. This weapon gains additional damage rolls against constructs and undead. That's.
I read that as decapitation, decrepitation.
Yeah.
Oh my god! I'm sat here. I'll come back to painting table in a minute. Jesus. Okay.
Kane apparently hates crooks now.
Yeah, I guess.
And another faction.
Yes. Dusk will do.
I got it in my hand right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Add that powerful attack and reload. It's also a magic weapon. It's also got pistol, which is really important for a reason that I don't think Nick will kind of grasp at this point. So, pistol. I mean, any model can now fire its ranged weapon in melee against the target it's fighting to stop all that weird gunfighter shenanigans of like, oh, I can't hit you because of X or Y.
Yeah.
But you also always gain the target in melee bonus. Pistol takes that away. So, yeah.
Okay.
Most warjacks, an awful lot of other models, can make all their melee and all their ranged attacks as initial attacks if they're in a position to do so. But pistol is very, very strong for enabling you to just go, right, I'm going to melee, I'm going to do all these things at once.
Yeah. It gets kind of brutal. The melee weapon is a bit meh, although I don't think it's ever
expected to be.
It's never intended to be melee. It's just a mat 7, power 15, although still magical with a buckler.
Yeah, I mean, it's giving you +1 armor.
So, It's an
sort
arm.
of defense.
It's an arm 19 jack at def 13, which is quite good actually. Def 13 on a heavy is pretty tidy. Um,
It's
you saying, Jay?
17 points.
It is.
I was just saying, I was agreeing with you, and then saying it's 17 points, which is a lot of jacks are that way, but there are a lot that are cheaper. So it's yours.
Well, I mean, it's so your big decision there is, am I taking this or the general? Because almost every Sigma army at the moment is taking the general. Which, yeah. I mean, you've got an accumulator on there. Storm Legion versus Gun
Gun
Mages.
mages.
Um, the general has overtaken Righteous Vengeance, which, oh boy, its Polarity Fist is roughly equivalent to the blade on Deuce, but that's not even its main melee. Its main melee is Quicksilver Mark III, which is the range 2 Power 19 disruption. Also has a ranged 8 range attack. Yeah, it's pretty nasty. Again, only arm 19, but yeah. I mean, so it depends on what you want to spend your 17 points on. With Kane, Deuce will probably get more value for you.
Yeah, agreed.
But do you run an army that's the general and Deuce? Is that's a lot of warjacks. 2 warjacks for 34
Lot.
points. I mean, you're probably tempted at that point to start running the smaller jacks with the sprays, just to kind of get the advantage of that like +2 power.
Sprays are strong.
Oh, the heavy is the heavy storm thrower. Yeah, it's the heavy storm thrower. So on a light jack, Signal has a spray 12. Which
How?
Power 12.
Oh, okay. I
Which
thought you were going to say POW 8.
yeah, and it's not even absurdly costed. Like that's your right arm weapons for the Corsair go from 3 points for your spear and broadsword to 5 points for your mag bolter, which is the armor piercing one. So it's interesting. I don't know. Deuce is certainly an option. I feel like he's got his uses.
With Kane, definitely.
Yeah. Next one on the list for Kane is next one on the list for the 2-player starter, Bastion Falk. So this is your solo, 4 points. He has leadership gun
That seems
mages.
cheap. That seems very cheap.
Yeah, 4 points for a spray 8 power 12. Yeah, that's pretty good. Leadership gun mages. So while within 10 inches model, friendly gun mage models gain reciprocate. So when it's missed by an enemy ranged attack, immediately after the attack is resolved, this model can make one basic ranged attack targeting the attacking model. This feels unfair.
That feels good. Don't shoot my gun mages, they'll shoot you back.
Yeah. Also has prowl.
Unfortunately, Juice is a Hellsinger and not a gun mage heavy jack warjack. Because if he was a gun mage heavy warjack, that would be hilarious.
No, bad. He's also got run and gun. So if he destroys an enemy with range attacks, he gets to make a full advance at the end of the activation. He's got AD and ambush. Oh, for a 4-point solo. Hello.
Oh my word, that's going to be annoying.
Oh, I'm guessing the symbols are AD and ambush. That's why I didn't recognise it. Was that Pathfinder as well?
Yes.
The foot is, yeah.
So he's a 30 mil base, Pathfinder. I think it's combined arms that can make ranged and melee at the same turn. Then the exclamation mark is ambush, and then the little arrow is AD, which isn't as good as it used to be, given it's only 3 inches now. But
no, but being able to come on the side and sit and shoot and be def 15 is That's an annoying way of denying.
Yeah. Oh,
That's the
that's
games that I play with. That's the games I play with high def small units. That you can do that with him.
well. He's coming on from ambush, at which point he's also got banish, which means he can. So he's got a Rat 7 8-inch spray that's power 12, with magical and pistol, of course. Um,
You can move. Okay.
so banish, if he doesn't kill you, yeah. Hang on, when this weapon damages an enemy non-leader model immediately after the attack is resolved, you can place the enemy model anywhere completely within 1 inch of its current location. So if you are having trouble getting to something on a flag, and you bring him on, you go, actually, can you just be a bit closer to all my other stuff? Even if you're not dead, that's pretty handy. And if you,
Hang on. Does that mean that can hit warjacks and move them an inch?
as long as it damages them. Now, it's not as good as it used
That's
to.
12, making it harder.
Yeah, it's not as good as it used to be. So you don't have that whole thing with like, and I turn it round so you can see the back, because that doesn't apply anymore. There are no arcs to work with.
Yeah.
But being able to move things an inch away from an objective in this version of the game is horrible.
Yeah, it's huge.
The amount of times you'll be just on the edge of something going, okay, I'm fine, I will get this turn, and just for him to go, nope. Oh, that's bad, because it means that in at least 2 of the scenarios you will probably miss out on being able to move one of the objectives.
Just
He does have to
I've
get
just
within
told
8
this.
inches of you.
Well, this is the thing though. He's coming on from the side, so I can't remember how far on is
Three.
ambush.
It's within 3.
So it's 3 plus the base width, so that's 4 inches. So if
It's
you
got to be completely within 3.
completely within 3, so if you're within 11 of a table edge,
Uh,
he can hit you.
Seems strong.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's 22 inches going from both sides. So there's only like a central column of 26 that he can't hit. Now, yes, obviously it all depends on the game state and what you're doing at the time, whatever. But also having the threat of him being there,
You've got to play around him the whole time.
that's enough to go, oh, I need an extra model to contest this. Oh, I need to make sure they're not in a pattern where you can spray both of them. It drives the game to a different place. So,
It's also that mental load, right?
Yeah.
You're then having to think about this all more. And that's always useful to be able to put on your opponents as a player in a competitive environment, especially when you're in game 3 or 4 of a day and the tiredness is starting to wear in.
yep. And of course, you said at one side to expect that he's going to be over there, and he appears on the other to just reinforce an attack rather than, take a side solo. And all of a sudden, your plan's out the window again. But hey, we haven't even finished all of his attack types yet, because he also he also has Decrepitation, which is additional die against constant undead. Also has Incendiary, so models hit are just set on fire.
Just on fire.
Just
A little bit of fire, for a little bit of Menoth.
yeah. For a full,
you get to do a kind of a Judge Dredd impression.
anyway, for a 4-point solo, I think he's pretty tidy.
Yeah.
The last Signar bit in there is the Black 13th. Now, I did look at this and look at the health values and go, they're 8 boxes, but then you realize they're only armor 12. So that's less bad.
They used to be 5 boxes, I'm pretty sure. So they've gained.
They did, yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't. I think that means that sometimes they will survive now, rather than, oh, they've been hit. I'll just put them in the bucket. That's just take them away. So, top of the box you have Ryan, who grants Prey and Prowl. She has 3 attack types: brutal damage, Thunderbolt, and Shadow Fire. Which, again, this is all working together in this army. So having Shadow Fire to stop things blocking line of sight, that's pretty tidy. And 2 shots at it as well. Because obviously, 2 Mage Lock pistols. Also, Chain Attack Mage Storm, which has made a comeback from the days of Mark II. If this model hits the same model with both its initial attacks with this weapon, center a cloud effect template on the model hit. The template is a hazard that remains in play for 1 round. A model entering or ending its activation of the template suffers a power 12 fire damage roll.
The fact
That's
that
very
that's
retro.
on, yeah, I mean it's from the OG Black 13th,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
The fact it's on Ryan seems to feel like it's a little less strong because she's the one with brutal damage and stuff where she can go and hit the heavier targets, whereas Mage Storm is more about clearing the lights. So I just guess it just gives her a bit of versatility.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
This is the thing though. What you could do, and I hate myself for saying this, it just hurts deep inside. Let's say it's the feet turn. You pick Thunderbolt and Brutal Damage, and you start pushing your Warjack back into a unit. You then get Mage Storm on the unit, or just in front of the unit. So, even though they're unaffected by any of those shots, there's the big cloud of power 12 in front of them they need to move around. It's awkward.
Seems good.
Well, that said, it's less useful these days.
Because there's less.
Well, so previous editions, you'd have had to move every single trooper around that cloud, which is just, I've got to move him out here, and that's an extra inch for that, and I can't go through this base over here. Whereas now, if you've got 1 trooper who can get past that cloud unobstructed, all of them just teleport to the side. So, it's got its ups and its downs. It's not as powerful as it was. It's still powerful, but it's not as powerful as it was. Next up, you have Watts, who also has. Okay. Oh, this is weird. Oh, I just realised it's not granted for both. They do just have Prowl Basic. It's just worded. In
Okay.
the top. It's worded in the top line as though they have granted for both, but no, they don't. So it's granted reposition 3 from Watts, and as with the others, has Prowl. Watts has Black Penny, so ignores target and melee.
Isn't that just the same as pistol? But I guess it's now optional.
No, because
No.
Black Penny's at range. Pistol only applies in melee.
Oh, so you're shooting into something else in melee?
Yes.
Yep, that's what Black Penny used to be for. I remember that.
Yeah. Blast for AoE 2, power 12 6. I don't know. I guess it exists. It's got some utility. Whatever. And then brutal damage, because why wouldn't you have brutal damage? Of note, rather than the standard, what is it, range 10 for the other pistols? Yeah, range 10.
Yeah.
Watts has a rifle that's range 14, and only Roth 1. So
He's a sniper.
yeah, you're not. Wait, this is the thing. You need to actually really consider with this unit what each piece is doing.
Give him snipe and he can shoot 18 inches.
17.
Oh, snipes +3, not
Yep.
+4.
Snipe has been
Yeah.
changed here. We'll get you there. Don't worry.
We'll play a game.
Steady
Stay
on.
tuned.
Sorry, God.
I have a unit, I have a Warcaster, I have a Jack, I just have a solo left to build.
It's amazing. It's like the 2-player starter gives you 2 armies you can play against each other.
Oh my god.
That are seemingly roughly the same points values as you get in the other boxes that Steamforged have set up. It's weird how that works. Again, it's like they've been considering maybe we should have a game where you just buy a box and can play from it if you want to. Madness. But yes, last one on the list is Glover. So, granted True Sight, which isn't as good as it used to be, but still ignoring clouds, ignoring stealth. Pretty good. You don't see as many.
Anything that lets you adjust game rules is good.
Yeah. Ignore game rules, please.
Ignore game rules, sorry.
Yeah. I'm far too used to playing against people who have what is it? The rules that allow you to move through your own models. I can't remember the name of the rule. But yeah, that just being able to ignore that entire set of
Tactician?
rules. Tactician, that's it. Having tactician and being able to walk through your own stuff is just it makes me
Lovely.
want to swear at people. It really does. Because then they go, I'll move all this over here, this over here, this over here, and I don't have to care about activation, order of activation for anything. Like, really? It does make me want to play Savarin just so I can do the same to them. But that's a side point. So, Glover then.
You look better.
Glover, he's got a... I'm guessing this is a double barrel magelock pistol? Actually, Nick, you could probably confirm because you can see the model.
Let me have a look. It looks like a mage lock with a bayonet on it.
Interesting. Oh, it must be double barrel because it's got both barrels action. So
That's what I thought you meant, actually.
yeah. Anyway, dual mage lock. So it's
Oh no, yeah. Sorry, yes, it is. He has double barrel
Yeah.
underneath it.
Yeah, he's also got
Cool.
black penny, also got brutal damage, and now the one that scares me deep inside, momentum.
Hey.
Yep, small or medium base models directly hit by this attack are slammed D3 away from this model. The power of collateral damage equals the power of the weapon. Power 10, so nothing much, but they're still slammed. In addition,
Feels knocked down?
yes. In addition, large models are also knocked down. So yeah,
Not mega large or anything, yeah.
no. So it's, I mean, the models you want to knock down and can knock down, you can. And you're also getting slams on small and medium, which, I mean, on that feat turn, going into medium-based units with brutal damage and momentum is just going to cause chaos. Like, oh, I've knocked you down, and you're colliding with a medium-based model, so it's additional die, it's brutal damage, so additional die on top of that. Or, you know, just like, I can't quite get through to your caster with, what was it? It was Shadow Fire. So I'll just knock down the other models as well. Or, just as a thought, I don't want to use my Shadow Fire yet, so I'm going to knock down your Shield Guard first. Because there is a lot of Shield Guard doing the rounds in War Machine, and being able to just on demand go, actually, what if your Shield Guard couldn't, is huge.
Shield Guard is everywhere. Shield Guard is also you can turn it on and enable it on models that don't have it otherwise. And infantry with Shield Guard is it used to be just like wall jacks and stuff, but it's so prevalent.
Yeah, I think Savarin has a spell. It's like this unit here. This can be Shield Guards. Yeah.
Even if they don't have shields.
Isn't it an area? Isn't it within so many inches? I don't remember. Yeah, Severin's definitely got it.
Yeah.
Into it.
But yeah, I mean, so the unit itself, as well, on top of all this, has Pathfinder, Gunfighter. Why would you give them combined arms? They have POW 8 swords.
Just in case, for when you get desperate and you charge with the Black 13.
I mean...
so they can charge. Yeah, so they can charge.
Well, no, they've got...
It's happened.
Okay, yeah. No, okay, so you got that. Yeah, they can charge in, use the melee weapon and still fire. Okay, yeah, I can see. And AD as well. Just to really round that off.
Which isn't really much these days, as you say, but yeah.
I mean, effectively, it's 3 3-point solos. That's what this unit is.
For 9 points? Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, to put that in perspective, 3-point solos, they're up there with the Sharpshooter, Tyson Vass, and the Legionnaire Officer. I'll be honest, I think these are going to be taking quite a bit. They've got some really good rules on them.
Black 13th always were a staple character unit, though, right?
Oh,
they were taken in almost every Signar force.
And now,
early days.
So. I wish I
went out of fashion, but they were very good. But also, how big are they, Nick? That's an important question, which is not resolved. How? I admit that you're a relatively tall gentleman. How tall are the?
about just bigger than 1.5 finger sections.
I love it.
I don't know. They
Okay.
So what was wrong with them before? What was wrong with them before, Nick?
they were tiny.
Indeed.
Do they look like children next to Kane? Is really
No. They are basically the same height. He's on 1 foot on a little bit of rock, leaning forward, so he has a little bit of height advantage on them. But no, they are appropriately sized for the people. They're actually quite. Deuce actually looks quite small next to them, really. But yeah, I think that's just because I haven't seen a War Machine model in quite a while.
madness.
Juice's guns are about as tall as he is in length.
Yeah, that fits. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not just one side that's in this box. We do have the other side to look at as well.
Currently in your possession, Kurt, though due to head to bench in the near future.
So the first one to look at is Capitan Zahara Vilkul, who is a new Cadre caster. Has unstoppable, tough, resistance to fire and acid, pathfinder, and combined arms. Has an alchemical mask, so doesn't suffer gas effects. Oh boy, that's been hanging around for a while and has had very little effectiveness in any edition of War Machine, but we'll see how that goes. But the more important part is when determining LRS or resolving attacks, ignores cloud effects and concealment granted from cloud effects. Field Marshal Prowl also has Rise and Takedown. So she takes you down with melee.
Field Marshal Prowl. I just read that having read the feat a little while ago. That's very nice.
Oh, you've gone ahead to read the feat.
Oh no.
So Vilkul does have, and this needs to be pointed out now because it will become relevant. Has the throwing axe, which is fine, range 8, power 13, but the mechanic axe when used in melee, first of all has an attack type called Ward Breaker, so becomes blessed, and is also Weapon Master power 13. Just gonna throw that out there. Takedown and Weapon Master power 13.
Seems good.
Yeah. The feat is Pall of Ashes, so this is a bit. Place D3+3 cloud effect templates anywhere within Vilkul's control range, which is 12. One of the templates for any faction models gain Pathfinder and can move through obstructions and other models if they have enough movement to move completely past them. One on a template, living models suffer -2 death, -2 to attack rolls, and lose tough unless they can ignore gas effects. Pall of Ashes lasts for a round.
So the mask is to help out with that synergy.
Yep.
So you're not scornaging your own models.
So on top of this, you have spells Cold Front. Spellcaster gains Chiller for 1 turn. While within 2 inches of a model with Chiller, enemy models without resistance cold suffer -2 death. And Cyclone. And you may recognise this one, Nick.
I say, wasn't that Warjack?
The spellcaster immediately makes a full advance. At the end of this movement, the spellcaster can make 1 basic melee attack against each model in its LOS that is in melee range. Can cast only once per activation. So, I should also point out, Vilkul is speed 7.
Ooh. He's going down the table.
So, then that becomes like, okay, so, start the turn, I'll pay 2 to get my Cyclone for a 7-inch move, and then I'll charge. That takes me another 10, so that's 17 inches so far. Then the Mechanica Axe is range 1. So if you're within 18 inches, she can hit you.
Hang on, is that a you move then take the attacks around, or you take the attacks around and then move?
It's move attack.
Move and then attack.
Yeah.
So you could charge, kill something with the charge, and then cast this, move into something else, then attack again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh.
It doesn't say she can't move after casting Cyclone. So you can do what Mike described. You
Yeah,
can Cyclone and then you can charge, which is unusual because usually movie things say you can't move after.
yeah.
Yeah.
It should also be noted that, well, Paul of Ashes is -2 death. Cold Front is -2 death. So she can -4 death you for 1 focus.
But Mat 7, which doesn't sound amazing, is actually rather good.
Yeah. Also then has 3 rack slots.
Not to mention Blessed, because therefore if you've got things protecting you, Arcane Shield, etc., just goes, what?
Yeah.
Wow.
This I want to play Vilcool because this feels like Sorcerer's come back. So, I mean, from the list of stuff, I'm not sure what you take. I mean, you probably take Superiority because every Cadre cast takes Superiority. It's the law.
Indeed.
You you might take Return Fire if you're taking Jax with her, potentially.
The Iron Flesh is another staple, isn't it?
Iron Flesh is also a staple, so +2 armor and resistance blast. Because I'm thinking here, Nick probably still thinks it's +3 death.
Is it not?
No.
No.
+2 arm and resistance.
It's what it always should have been. It's what it always should have been. It should always have been +2 armor.
Yeah. Everyone always said Iron Flesh as it was worded made no sense.
Yeah, it did.
Easy win's quite nice.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's tools in there. You probably
there's no synergy there, is there? But yeah,
you probably don't take Tempest or what was the other one that does that? Freezing Grip, because they are way too expensive.
Dual Sequence is nice, as you could put that on a unit, and then they would it would gain stealth within clouds and things. There's potential there.
Yes,
You know what units to take.
but yeah, I mean,
Not ideal, but yeah, there's definitely.
You certainly take Superiority, and I think Razor Wind is probably as just a spray 10 pow 12. Just a nope is always pretty handy. Fog of War can also be another one, but that's So Vilcool is interesting all on her own. Then you've got Razor, which so bearing in mind if this is with Vilcool, it gets the prowl off her Field Marshal. So it has Anchor. So I should say it's Heavy Warjack. With all the things you expect of Heavy Warjack. And Pathfinder, because sure, why not? Anchor, friendly warrior models currently knocked down while base to base with this model, which is always a good start. Repo 3, because again, Cadre Jacks that move at the speed of light, perfectly fair. Swift Hunter.
Gone are the days of slow Cadre.
Oh,
This is based on the quote unquote light heavy.
Yes.
I'm just looking at the stats and everything else. It basically is a wolf.
Well, this is the thing. So you have Razor. Start the turn, you put superiority on it. So now it's speed 7. So it moves 7. It kills something with a ranged attack. It moves 2. At the end of the activation, it then gets Repo 3. So it's moved 12 inches by walking. That's how silly it is.
It seems strong.
Grenade launcher. It's got 2 of those. For its ranged weapons. They're arcing fire. They've got targeting flare. So targeting flare is instead of making an attack, you can place a 3-inch template anywhere within 10 inches of this model with a center point in this model's LOS, ignoring intervening models. While a model is within the template, it loses stealth, and models can ignore cloud effects for determining LOS to it. The template remains in play for 1 turn. Now, far be it from me to say that plays with the feet a little bit as well. Yeah. I mean, 10-5 for the power is a bit weedy, but it's...
It's range 10 as well. The grenade launches on Cadre Jacks used to be a lot shorter than that, I thought. 6 or so.
I think Spriggan's used to be 10, I think. It was.
Did it really? Okay.
It was either 8 or 10, I think. But yeah. It's no. I think It's long ranged enough because it can move to wherever it wants. You don't care.
Very true.
It's got the slug cannon, which, I mean, this one goes down to range 8, but is a pistol and POW 16. It's got momentum, so knocking down your models. It's got siege weapon, so against buildings. Yeah, just ignore that part. Against huge base models, gets an additional die of damage, which POW 16 is nothing to, be shrugged off. And reload 1. So that's going to take chunks out of things. And then finally, the shield. And I'll put it, this is a shield that is POW 18. With crit shred and beatback.
Pretty strong
This
melee monster.
slug cannon's got pistol, as you said. Jesus. Okay.
Yeah. So it's going to walk up to you. It's not even going to bother to charge. It's going to use the slug cannon to knock you down. And then while you're on the floor, it's going to use the Ripper shield to beat you to death. I mean, do I think it's the strongest melee monster in the world? Absolutely not. But it's going to be able to get into places where you don't think a heavy should get. Especially with Repo and Swift Hunter. Hell, Repo and Swift Hunter, it might even be able to get in and get out again. And just say, yeah, I've had a couple of slug cannon shots, I'm off. See ya. Which would be infuriating.
Yeah, no. Yes.
Now, this does come with a caveat. It is 18 points. Which makes
That's a few.
Which makes me die a little inside. That's more expensive than the most expensive Great Bear. That's more expensive than Medveditsa. That's more than halfway to a Mastodon. So, I can see myself experimenting with it, but whether it gets used or not is another thing entirely.
Very comparable to a lot of other character Jackson Beasts, though.
Oh yeah, I definitely think they've learned their lesson with those actually. So one of the things in previous editions was, why would I take a standard Warjack ever when I can get +2 mat for 3 points? And that was always the thing. Why would I take a Juggernaut when I can take Beast, who hits harder, has a longer reach, and has more utility?
I think the character Jacks and character Beasts have different utility and different purposes than their equivalents now. And all factions that I spent a lot of time looking at.
Yeah.
They give you something that you didn't have otherwise.
Yeah.
And that you pay for it. You definitely pay for it. You're basically taking out another solo to add to, for the equivalent with the Jack and another solo in order to make it the points. To get to 17, 18, 19 points. Because that's what they almost all are. There are some exceptions, but that's what most of them are.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So I think it's a good lesson that's been learned. I do see the characters on the table, but I don't think in every list it's like start with the character, then move down. So
the immediate example is Dusk.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
But it is expensive. Israfel is more expensive than the other equivalent heavies, but Israfel is so much better.
Is that the 3-inch melee pull you around one?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like it. Take it away.
17.
Anyway, onwards and upwards.
Yes.
We have Sergeant Goran Lazarenko, the Jackal, 4-point solo, so equivalent to Falk on the signal side. Has tough AD. Sadly, doesn't have ambush. Come on, where's my Cadre ambushes?
Not allowed.
Where's my Cadre
A
cavalry?
rocket launcher ambush.
Where's my Cadre cavalry? That's all I'm asking. We'll get to the rocket launcher, don't worry. So he's got Alchemical Mask. He's got Marksman, which means he can choose branches on Beasts and Jacks, of course. Prowl, because all Assault Commandos must now have Prowl for some reason. Actually, does this entire 2-player starter have Prowl?
Yeah.
Or can get it. Has it or gets it.
That's
weird.
Right. That's deeply weird. Repo 3, because, again, movement shenanigans are king. But he has a rocket launcher called Jackbuster. Range 12, Rat 7, AoE 2, Power 14, 7. Not bad. It's, once you get up to 7, you're talking about 50% of the time you can start to crack into melee armor, so not melee, troop armor. So it's pretty decent. However, brutal damage. So on a direct hit, gain additional damage against the target directly hit, which is pretty nice. And crit stagger. On a critical hit, the model loses its initial attacks and cannot make power attacks or special attacks for 1 round. Now, what I'm going to say is this might pop up with Baronova. Because her thing of putting out a spell that gives you an additional die to hit, dropping the lowest, can force crits. So, being able to crit stagger stuff more often, it's not reliable, but just as a kind of every turn there's a higher chance it could happen, I don't see it as a bad thing.
What I quite like, you just mentioned about the prowl, is the amount of true sight on the Signar side and all the prowl on the Cadre side is quite interesting.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it?
They don't all have prowl. The gun mage solo and 2 of the unit have prowl. And then Kane doesn't have prowl, I think, through it. Just interesting. Yeah, interesting that you can have that kind of the back and forth or the counter is really just fascinating.
So Lazarick, I don't think he's as kind of as 4-pointy as Folk is, but I definitely think he's got a place. I think he actually range 12. He could be that solo that you put on an objective and just go, yeah, he's going to score me a CP every turn, and he's going to chip points off your jacks while he's here. Interesting.
Okay.
Yep. And then finally we have the Hounds, which the names. Oh boy. So these are an 8-point unit. 8 boxes each. Unlike Signar, they are arm 15, but they have shield wall, taking them up to arm 17 if they're base to base. That's actually an interesting dynamic, as someone has pointed out. The Black 13th, they want to use their repo to spread out as far as possible. The Hounds want to stay in a little tight triangle. So it's 2 very kind of much opposite units.
It's interesting that their armor goes up to 17, but their def is still 14. It's still they're not def 11.
Yeah.
Really.
Oh, it's not like I think I'm trying to think what the commandos were. I think they were the 12 or 13.
13? Yeah, I think they were 13. Yeah.
I think that was their old one, which is not great. 14 is where you start getting into I'm having problems hitting territory. So just going for the top, we've got Teteria. Pass. Alchemical
He's a
Mask.
doggo. Teteria.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Alchemical Mask, so it doesn't suffer gas and ignores cloud effects and the concealment from cloud effects. Girded, so if you're playing the unit in a triangle, they have resistance blast, which is very useful. Granted inspiration, so while this model's in play, models in each unit gain +1 to attack rolls, effectively
That's
moving
very
them.
nice.
Yeah, moves them all to
Rat
Rat 7, Rat 7, which is very tasty. Shield Wall, which is good. And then the range weapon, the Death Whisper Carbine. Only range 8, so shorter range than a Signar pistol. Pass. But it is power 6 and armor piercing. Which, power 6 armor piercing, not to be laughed at, to be honest. I mean, that'll start punching into jacks very easily. And against medium-based infantry, it will just, it will absolutely shred. You have Fidiniak, who also has the alchemical mask, or has girded. Granted prowl rather than inspiration because, again, as many things in this box as possible must have prowl.
Did you mention that they are all immune to fire and to corrosion?
Corrosion.
Can't even set them on fire with the spray.
No, you
Yeah.
God.
can't.
They have resistance to fire and corrosion, yes. Although, that said,
Wow.
again, for Nick's benefit, that has changed. So you still can't be affected by the continuous effect, so you don't take the point of damage every turn for corrosion, you can't be set on fire. But if something is the damage type of fire or corrosion, rather than cancelling it out, it removes 1 die from the attack damage roll.
Okay.
Same for resistance blast. So if you've got resistance blast, that damage roll goes down by a die, which makes some things that should be really easy very difficult. But yes, so for Ferdiniak, they have an arcing fire range 12 grenade launcher that is starting to get up there. So it's only AoE 2 still, but it's POW 12-8. And that's the point where you can really start getting into infantry very easily. The last one, oh boy. So you have your alchemical mask. Sorry, yeah?
I just said Scrubala.
Scrabala, yes. You have your alchemical mask, you have your girded. Granted, Repo 3, which means this little triangle can just kind of wander around the board slightly faster. Shield wall, fine. And then the pride of the Cadre arsenal. The assault cannon. Range 12, Roth D3 plus 1, POW 12, volume fire, crit knockdown.
Oh my word!
Yeah, that's pretty tasty, if I'm honest. Those assault cannons,
Many,
the amount of times I've
many,
started chunking down jacks with them.
many pig.
Yeah, I mean, don't
Fine.
don't get me wrong. You can have the assault cannon in a standard winter core unit. You can have 2 of them if you want. But having it on a model that's going to be Arm 17 most of the time, with Tough, with Prowl. Oh, now I've just thought of what spell Vilcool will take. I mean, obviously, it's not much use against... Oh, I'll have to look at what the interaction is. No, sorry. True Sight ignores stealth. That's it. But yeah, outside of facing Kane, you could just take Fog of War. And suddenly your Jack has stealth, your unit has stealth, your solo has stealth.
Aye.
That's delicious. Yeah, I mean, so the hounds are 8 points. I'm on the fence about them at the moment. I want to try them out on the field. I think they've got game, and I think they're going to be again. They're going to be a find an objective, park them on it, and see what you can do. Because I think they're just tough enough to maybe hold it sometimes. They've certainly got the tools to take down stuff that's coming in. So, yeah. I mean, what do we think about those 2 forces as kind of as a 2-player starter?
There's
Right
a
then.
lot
I
of
like
rules
the
you're being introduced to, which I think is a good thing in a way, because you, as long there's not a huge number of interactions to question there. Obviously, things like the fire will be one to learn very quickly, but yeah, having those kind of extra rules in a starter set's a good way to go for a game that can get extremely complex.
I would actually very much agree with you there. Yeah. You've got a lot of rules there that require learning. I think it would be... So the one thing is you can't start with a battle box game because you don't have 2 fairly simple jacks that you can kind of start with and then build up to this full starter set. But on the other hand, if you want a taste of what War Machine is, and a lot of the rules interactions right from the get-go, I think if you could get a demo game against someone who knows what they're doing, this would be a really easy sell. So they're going, oh, well, I would do this, but you have immunity through this thing here. That sort of game. 2 people picking it up fresh. I'd probably have more of a concern with that one. But overall, I think this adds a lot of interesting stuff to the game.
You were trying to say something, Kurt. Sorry, I cut you off.
That's fine. I was similar to you. I think that I quite like the interaction rules that it presents. I like the fact that they're different. They are they have different strengths and weaknesses. I think it would be interesting if you'd played a bit, or maybe you played it a while ago and you're getting back to Mark 4, or if you are completely new to the game, you could quite happily pick this up and sort of play both armies, as in swap armies, which is always what everybody encourages people to do, but
Yeah.
a lot of people do. Always, it was always an encouraged thing, but who did it? I think this is a really good way to learn those different kind of attack and defense, and those keyword kind of advantages really, really well. I like it a lot more than I thought I was going to. I think I was a bit skeptical and a bit kind of like, oh yeah, it's another boxes. But actually, the fact we've gone through it in such details really made me look at it more than I had before. The contrast between the Hounds and the Black 13th is really, really cool, particularly. But even the casters too. One is hiding, the other one can see through what they're hiding in, but it gives you the starting points of those different mechanics within the game, which I think is really good.
Well, I think it's that nice contrast between Kane wants to either be just about in range and sniping you and moving back, or wants to be like well out of range and let you come in and make the mistakes. Whereas Vilcool says, you're over there, I want to be over there too. And they've both got really good tools for doing that. Like, Vilcool can just speed ahead of everything and come into you. The Jack can as well. Whereas Deuce and Kane are like, actually, we're gonna repo back a bit, we're gonna teleport back a bit. It's that little bit of balance, which does make me wonder if they've put a scenario or something in there, something simple that you can work with, because that was always, playing the early kind of Mark II games where people weren't playing with scenarios, and you had people just chasing Kane or Gatsby round a rock for half an hour as they go, oh, I teleport away.
Benny Hill music, let's go.
Yes, we've all been
Some
there.
kind of King of the Hill type sort of cutout of all kind of zone or something, because I think you can't have a solid a fitting objective or something that's too. I think that's too much, especially as they have meaning now for different units.
Yeah.
A zone that you could photocopy, cut out, or cut a
Well,
8-inch circle out and put it in the middle. That's the feel.
Let's use a War Machine mechanic. Let's say you make one of those walls or one of those ponds the objective.
Well, what's the go idea?
Make one of them a hill, and it's King of the Hill.
Yeah, it's like this thing now.
Flag, you have a flag mechanic. Yeah.
Now you have the ability to attach meaning to pieces of terrain, and including that terrain. I think there's some very smart choices you can make there. Obviously, we don't know if this has happened, but even if you just took a standard Steamroller pack, which don't think it'd work at this size, but I believe in the current Journeyman League,
they're 30-point armies, right? They're the bottom unit of what is there.
Well, I was going to say, I believe in the current Journeyman League, they are running specific Journeyman-style scenarios. Now, that would be suitable for 30 points, where Steamroller might not be. Steamroller is way too wide as a system. You can't adequately contest control with what you've got here. It would create a very odd game. Hell, it's really hard to do at 75.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean that's more than double the points you've got here. So
Yeah. So I think it's going to require specific scenarios, but I think the Journeyman League, they're actually doing some of those smaller points ones. I know that Matt Hart was talking about working on some 30-point scenarios.
He is. You're right. I mean, yeah,
So, which
very cool.
again,
Maybe,
I
maybe, maybe there'll be a few.
yeah, some sort of pack of smaller game stuff.
Yeah,
Maybe you could even
different
run,
scenarios.
maybe even run an event around it. Some sort of event that's both fun, quick, and maybe even dirty.
Indeed. Come back a bit.
are we
Yeah.
heading back to Kidderminster?
What do you mean heading back to Kidderminster? I go there most weeks.
It's a little bit of a journey for me.
Yes, that
I've been
is
there for quite a long time.
that is true. Um, yeah, the fact that I'm still playing at the club that I was playing at, when would it be? 2008, so 16 years later, and it's the same faces. Is kind of a weird one, but there we are. So yeah, overall interesting box. Got a lot of good stuff in it. I can't remember what was the RRP of the box. I don't remember.
I'm gonna look at you, Kurt. I have no idea.
I can't recall. I want to say 70, but I'm just literally trying to jump on SFG quickly and have a look. But
It's a race, and I think Kurt's
I
going to get there
can't.
first.
No, I've got miniatures in front of my keyboard, so I can't type quickly. And SFG didn't do it well enough.
79.99. So
It's close, but not quite. Yeah.
when that hits, when and if that hits places like Wayland, Firestorm, whatever, you might be able to knock another 10% off that. 10-15%.
What's that?
So maybe down as far as like 70 quid. I don't think that's. I mean, you're getting 2 Warjacks, so usually in the 20-25 range each. You get a couple of casters each. Call them, say, tenner. You're already at your 70 pounds, and then you got a solo and a unit per faction each. So, and you've got terrain as well.
Yes.
So, as an all-in for a game, for £80 from Steamforged, maybe a little bit cheaper elsewhere, that's not bad. I mean, it's not X-Wing, as it was many years ago, which was like a £35 bind, something like that. But for a miniatures game, that's really good.
Yeah, no, very solid.
Yeah. And the important thing is, as well, it's giving you that little taste of, here's a caster, here's a solo, here's a unit, here's a warjack. It's giving you all the important, like, components of War Machine. And it's also not doing that thing that a lot of people do with their starter sets of saying, well, 1 starter set's good, but how about 2? Because that annoys
it
me
never
too.
works for this, does it?
No, because everything's a character. So you buy this, and then maybe to expand it, grab a battle box. Or well, actually, no, you can grab any of the other boxes, and you're getting variety and flavour all the way through. So
The Cadre boxes are good. I think in a lot of senses the Cadre add-ons are interesting. But it depends what you're drawn to. I would say even if you've got a faction that you're enjoying,
actually, yeah, that's
you can go in any direction, can't you? You can go starter, the expansion, or the Cadre. Now,
well. I mean, so if you pick up your, let's say you're looking at Signar. If you pick up your battle group box, you're getting Athena, a Charger, and not Charger, Athena, a Striker, and a Corsair, which is that's a nice differentiation. She'll add something through her feet because it's that sort of mini Ashlyn-ish effect. Although she doesn't affect the damage anymore, which is saddening. Or you go for the Storm Legion Core expansion, which does give you all those Storm units. It gives you the other Storm. It gives you the Storm Legion officer and a banner bearer.
Yeah, the character.
With Wolf and
General.
General.
A wolf, yeah, wolf, yeah, and general.
Oh, Wolf's interesting. Or you can get the cavalry with the auxiliary. Now that doesn't have. Oh, that's interesting. So the auxiliary version of Signar doesn't have a
It
warjack
doesn't.
in
A
it.
jack. Only one now, I think. I'm sure it's true, but yeah.
I would probably not add the Storm Legion auxiliary.
No, I'd be more inclined to go Cadre than the auxiliary.
Well, the Stormforge Command Cadre. You've got you've got not Nemo. I keep forgetting his name.
Okay, Black Hammer.
You've got the unit that blocks shooting. You've got. Is that Borealis? Yes, they have added Borealis to. Oh, okay.
They have, yeah, they have, yeah. Yeah, they have. It's a nice box.
Yeah, and then you've got Vass, Stormcallers. Oh, that's. Yeah. Having having the Black 13th and Falk with a unit that can say, actually, no shooting back, please. Thank you. If you're alright with that, that's. Yeah. And the Cadre box, that is pretty tidy.
Ruins their reposition stuff, but sure. I'm sure you don't want them shot at.
Well, no, because you can position the Black 13th out and then put the no shooting unit effectively inside them to create another bubble that they can be just on the edge of. So it doesn't ruin it. It makes it more complicated, yes, which arguably is probably something you want for buying into more Signal. Alternatively, you can. There's some stuff that's just available individually, and you can buy some interesting
By Striker.
bits of that. Yeah, I mean, I think adding the battle box is a nice start there.
But that's why they're set up like. I mean, we've said it multiple times now. That's why they're set up this way. You don't want to buy multiple of them, and you have multiple different routes to be able to go down. And if I remember correctly, it will be usable with other cadres later as well.
So yeah, the cadres are a weird one. I think they put that description in there of the cadre, and then didn't necessarily entirely follow it up with rules. So the cadres are just the floating bits of the army that can go between the different armies. So your Storm Legion will always be your Storm Legion, and the Gravediggers will always be the Gravediggers, but the cadres can go with either of them.
Yeah. So the Kane can go either way. He can go play with the Storms, or he can go play with the Gravediggers.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be, and again for a starting product, saying, hey, everything in this faction is locked to a single army. It does not move over. Oh, unless you buy. Actually, this does give you even more reason to go with that. With the cadre box, with this, you're buying a core of an army that says we can play with anything from this faction once it expands.
Yeah, no, that seems like the right.
And everything in both halves is part of that cadre that can go with any future Signar, any future Cadre.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm looking at the Cadre stuff now. The battle group box I probably wouldn't recommend because Borishuk is. We don't talk about Borishuk. The Winter Corps Auxiliary, even though you don't get a Warjack, which you do get Volkova, who can give ancillary attacks to your Warjack. You get your Man Wars with the chain guns, which is.
I was gonna say you get 3 Warjacks, but obviously.
Yeah, they're effectively like Jacks. They are horrific. You get your Arcanists, which are real staple units of Cadre because they hand out focus like sweeties. You get your Not the Iron Fangs, which the ranged ones are very good, and the ones with spears and shields are victims. You get a Mechanic, and you get Baronova, who is arguably the strongest caster in Cadre. Um, I like the auxiliary for this here. I think the Winter Core kind of also works, but that's very much based around 2 units of not Winter Guard, and Savarin, which I don't think the hands really kind of offer much to. Um, and then you got the Annihilator Cadre,
And
which
that's what I was drawn to.
which I mean,
Cool.
it's got the weak unit of Mana Wars, which is a problem because the melee version of the Mana Wars is not it's not great.
Yeah, suppressors are amazing, aren't they? Suppressors is
Suppressors are
way better.
fantastic. They are just great. But
Terrible.
it does come with the new Cadre Jack, the not Borealis.
Avalanche.
Forgot the name. Yeah, Avalanche. Yes.
Avalanche.
Which I mean, Avalanche. Oh, yes, of course. Again, Cadre Jacks are slow, which is why this one is speed 5 with Fleet, and Grand Slam, and follow up, and oh no.
Another shield with instead of teeth in it, it's got like some kind of meat grinder attached to it.
I've just realised. Hang on. So this thing can slam 7, 9. This thing can slam 12 inches.
Jesus.
And then okay. So it can slam 12 inches. If it then rolls a 6 for the Grand Slam, then it slams you 8 inches. So Avalanche can move with superiority and fleet 20 inches in a turn. That's excessive. I mean, I'm not sure if it's good. Don't get me wrong, but it's fun. Anyway, yeah. So there's lots of opportunities to work with what's in the box set here, and I think it's got a lot of nice tools. So yeah. Right. So I think is there anything more we want to say about the box at this point, or have we kind of done everything to death?
It's nice, it's lovely, and I'm very glad I've got it.
Cool. We'll see how Benj feels when we can find him. He's hidden in a cupboard somewhere. Oh well, never mind. Yeah. So with that said, hopefully you enjoyed this look through the box set, and hopefully we'll try and have it on. Well, oh,
Say goodbye, Kurt.
oh no, oh no, that's bad.
He returns.
Hello, Mr. Curtis J. Hansen.
Apologies. So,
Don't worry about it. As I was saying, hopefully you've enjoyed this look through the 2-player star box. We will try and have it out on embargo day if we can figure out what time I can actually put this on the YouTube for a premiere.
I think 6. I think it's. I can find the time if you want.
Yeah, I think we can do that off air though. So
6 p.m. 6 p.m. Yeah, 6 p.m. UK BST. Yeah.
Okay, then I'll try and put this up for then.
On Friday, right?
On the 25th.
Yeah.
Which is Friday.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. Yeah.
So I'll try and put this on the YouTube for then, and then have an edited version slightly later for anyone who's interested. So, yeah, I suppose we could do what's on the painting table. Although, frankly, this entire episode has really been Nick's painting table because he's
Building table.
Yeah, exactly.
The paint will come.
I mean, that's that's what's on yours. Kurt, what's on your painting table?
I have been hobbying while I've been talking as well. Currently, I'm sitting at my usually my work desk, but I brought loads in to do while we were talking. And I've put the Gunji crackle paste on 22 Terminators, mixture of currently up to new ones and some older ones that I eBayed and purposed. Mixing a whole load of putting the finishing touches to a whole load of characters for my dark. It's all Dark Angels, by the way, or Angels of Not redemption.
Very
White
nice.
redemption. They're quartered white
Yeah.
and dark green. And I did do the red bits on detail on a redemptor as well to go with them. And I did the red trim bits for the knights as well to go with those. So that's me. This is me. I've been spending October painting lots and lots of Dark Angels because I've had them for absolutely forever. Sat around, lots of grey assembled Marines and not painted them. I painted a few. At the start of the month, I'd had 2 units painted, 2 to 10 painted. I now have more than I can count. Um, at least 2,000 points,
That's good.
possibly very nearly getting to the point 2,000 points of grain of Deathwing and of a separate army as well. So probably good more than 3,000 points of Marines I've painted, I think.
I was going to say, you've really been churning through those because watching the photos.
I got really. I had a weird thing with War Machine. Partly, I definitely got a bit disappointed with the game a little bit, which I'm feeling very much over. But also, I was feeling I put myself under too much pressure with painting. And I was like, I want to paint something fun. Instead, I know some people wouldn't say paint absolutely ridiculous number of Space Marines is fun, but with no pressure and just painting what the hell I like and just painting for fun, I've really enjoyed it. Really,
Uh,
really enjoyed it.
I know what you mean with that one because, I mean, from what I've been painting for the last, well, since the last podcast, I've actually gone to what I consider to be the lowest pressure tier of painting, which is terrain.
Yeah,
And yeah, okay, obviously, some days you do just churn out 4 walls and they look like walls and it's good. But like I've got 2 of the Age of Sigmar pieces that are ruined walls with a little stand on them, and then this kind of massive statue that sits on top. And I just kind of sat there and banged 2 of those out in a day, and it was like, yeah, I have a nice ruined wall, that's grey, and we'll make this bit red, and this bit should be marble, so we'll have that as well. And we'll have a bronze statue. Oh, I've got some verdigris over here. I can add that to it.
nice.
And it's just like, yeah, that I find that very therapeutic, um, because
I think the measure of how many Marines I've painted is I've got this pot of, it's not from any of the major brands, of this crackle paste, which is 150 mils. It's quite a reasonable sized pot, bigger
yeah,
than anything you get from them. And it's nearly done. And it was sealed at the start of October. I found the open tub, which was just rock hard and useless. I went, oh no, I've got another one, fantastic. Because I was about to order one, and I found one, and I've gone, it's most of the way done. So and I've smeared that on the base of all across the base of every Space Marine I painted.
very nice, very nice.
I do have more. I've started some Sad Dead Elves. I've got
Oh,
a unit of. So I'm trying to remember what they are. Because I'm not as up on Dusk as I should be because it's a new faction for me. Um, of the large based infantry with axes is what they are.
okay.
And I've been toying with playing with paint schemes and googling and looking at Eldar schemes and stuff and thinking about how I could make them quite interesting. Yeah, just about with that. They're quite yellow at the moment. And I think that's where I'm going with my dusk. No, it's not very vampiric and not very undead, but it is very elven.
Yeah, I mean that's the key thing. You kind of you pick what you want for it, and that's kind of the important part. I'm trying to think what that
Good
unit is.
gods,
It's bothering
good
me.
god slayers, good god
Okay.
slayers. That's what they are. But they're
Oh,
not very they're not very well thought of, and they're not very well used in the scene. It was more that they're an interesting unit to paint. They're a good place to start. So far, they're not on anybody's list of late, and that was a good reason to kind of get them out and start
I'm.
because they're bigger as well, chunkier, and that was quite nice.
I mean,
Rather than trying to paint a ridiculous number of boring infantry.
I can see why because they're a melee unit in a combined arms world.
Yeah,
It's exactly the same problem that I have with my. Um, I'm going to keep saying it because I forget the name. They're not the Iron Fang Pikemen.
yeah.
Like I want to play that unit. They've got their wonderful explosive tip spears. They've got the shield wall, and you put them on the table, and you go, "Hey, they've got +2 armor as long as they stay in the little triangle." And then Big Pig turns up across the table and goes, "Oh, 3 dudes who are dead."
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. Well, that's 7 points. I guess
But,
I don't get to play the game with.
but wait, I'll put stealth on them. Don't care.
No, I have eyeless sight. I just don't care.
Just don't care.
Um,
Yeah.
I mean, I would love for the start of the year to bring something in that starts to not rebalance the game to say, hey, it's all melee now, but just to give a little bit of help to all these units that are melee focused and just aren't making it up the table.
Yeah, the only exception is Chimera, isn't it? So trolls,
Yeah,
Rhine Bloods can take the hits on the way in and survive it and shrug it off, or their infantry can take the hits and not care, and they just die. But Chimera are the one faction from playing it who can sit outside your shooting threat range and then charge you.
yeah, they can deliver. I think is the key thing there. Yeah, very much so. But hey, that's the thing. And I feel like I feel like I've spoiled the painting table with rules. I'm sad
Rules
now.
Oh.
table
Yeah, I feel sad now.
returning to Elite Cadre in 2025, spelling it out.
I mean, we have practically done spelling it out for two casters this evening. Come on.
Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah. I
almost
mean,
faction, almost factions with the rag.
anyway, moving on.
You, you take the rack so that you can take extra focus.
No, no, no.
Okay,
The
dear Lord,
the Menoth rack is gone.
I sold
What
mine.
if they brought Menoth back and the rack gave you an extra rack spell?
Oh no,
When
no.
they ride, while they're riding the dinosaurs.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, exactly.
Menoth riding dinosaurs is such a meme about this edition, and I love it to bits, but I hope it never happens.
Oh, no.
You can
Um,
just have racks, like the spikes of a Stegosaurus with racks sticking out of them.
Oh, with
I
barbecue.
I have a feeling they would do something more creative than take Menoth models and put them on Seraphon models. To be honest, I'd hope they would anyway.
Extra
But
nightmare.
I want a fire-breathing T-Rex because that Red Menoth will make that happen.
that is actually fair.
Really good.
No, I,
I mean, we've pretty much already discussed what's not on next table, really, haven't we, as we've gone along?
yeah.
Yeah.
Mike,
The building
Mike, what's on
table,
your list?
the
Well,
player starter.
like I said, my table is just at the moment a collection of Age of Signar scenery that is slowly filling a box
Oh,
of generic fantasy terrain that I can use for multiple things. I'm having a lot of fun painting it because it's very low pressure. I don't have to care,
yeah.
and this is the thing with terrain. If you mess up and you like do a messy patch job on it, that's character. Um, and to be honest, no one should be staring at the terrain on your table all the time. So yeah,
This is really, really good.
yeah, and I think the verdigris statues I've done. I really like those because it's this combination of like you've got the what was it? I used sanguine base to get them nice and red, then put a goldish metallic over the top, then put the verdigris on, and then got Rune Lord Brass, if you know that color. It's like a.
No, but I can imagine. Yeah.
It's well, no. See, brass is the wrong word for it. It's
Oh,
it's almost a pale gold,
oh, I was going greeny. Okay, okay.
and
Good bronze. Yeah.
then I've used that as a sort of a stipple color for wherever there's a flat point on the plate, and the verdigris wouldn't have stuck. To just bring a little bit of like the rains washed it down over the years, and the verdigris gone in the corners, but the center remains like brighter. Yeah, it's really simple effect, and I like it. So
Very nice.
yeah. Anyway, I think we can end on pretty much that. So yeah, you've been listening to Elite Cadre, the War Machine podcast that doesn't take itself too seriously. I've been Mike.
Okay.
And I've been Nick.
Say goodbye, Nick.
Goodbye, Nick.
There we go. That's an episode.
Woohoo.
Yep, I'm going to press the stop recording button there because, yeah, we're all done. And thank you to anyone who does watch this on YouTube. You've been in for a ride, I guess. Yeah.
Wait, what? But you can't put it on. You can't put that bit on if you stopped recording.